Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Melting Podcast. And before we start our episode, it would be greatly appreciated for me, Brian, and Mario that you guys like, subscribe, and comment. And so now, starting on with this video, we are going to talk about the NFL season of 2023 preview. Well, Brian, before we start, okay, I want you to stand up for me real quick, man. I want you to stand up for
Oh
me.
yeah, sure. Yo, it's like,
Oh,
Wow.
no, open your hands.
Lawrence Taylor.
Open your hands.
No, what? Hey,
You
Lawrence
look
Taylor,
like
New
you're
York
wearing a
Giants
dress.
legend. Eh?
You look
One
like
of the
you're
greatest.
wearing a dress. No.
This is how people in New York dress all the time.
Right,
In the
but you're not in
90s,
New
in the
York. We are in our country, Indonesia.
Yeah, but
Indonesia.
basically, Jakarta is basically New York of Indonesia.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Anyways, so our main topics for today is the New York Jets and Aaron Rodgers coming in from the Green Bay Packers after 17 years in Green Bay. Um, and also, our second is going to be about Brock Purdy's era in the San Francisco 49ers and Trey Lance being traded to the Dallas Cowboys. And the third one is the draft of the quarterbacks, being Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, and Anthony Richardson. Okay, so starting off with topic number one, we're going to talk about the New York Jets and Aaron Rodgers. So, a little bit of insight for you guys. The New York Jets are known for being one of the worst teams in recent NFL history. Do you agree with that, Brian?
Yes, definitely. They have the longest playoff drought since the last time they made the playoffs was like in 2011, I believe, or 2011, the calendar year of 2011. So obviously they haven't. Everyone has made it the playoffs after that.
That's true. Especially they rank last in like every season the past 10 years in their conference, right? Would you agree? Okay.
I can't agree with the facts. I can't disagree with the facts.
Who knows they're wrong? Who knows they're wrong? We'll never know. We'll never know. Anyways, moving on.
Anyways,
The Jets are now starting to improve in their roster, especially in defense. The Jets were one of the best defensive teams in the NFL in the 2022 year, ranking fourth in both yards and points allowed. If only they had a very competent quarterback, all hail the new signing of A-Rod, Aaron Rodgers. He is a four-time NFL most valuable player, a Super Bowl champion, and one of the NFL's all-time elite quarterback, having 17 years in the Green Bay Packers and winning one Super Bowl with them. So, Brian, please indulge us. Do you think Aaron Rodgers is the answer for the New York Jets? What do you think?
Okay. I think that they are going to improve from last year because last year they were 29th in points. So clear. And they have a Super Bowl ready defense to go, like basically to like they're the only side of the ball that is dragging the team to a 7-10 record last year, right? And Zach Wilson has been playing poorly last season. That's why he's now the backup to Aaron Rodgers. And now they are doing what Tom Brady and the Buccaneers did a few years ago, which is to bring a veteran quarterback who is not doing who's not seeing eye to eye with their previous team, and now he's a new city, a new team, a new players all around. He brought some of his players from Green Bay with him, and now he is supposed to be the answer by the fans and the team. Do I think they're going to win the Super Bowl? I don't think so. We're going to talk about our Super Bowl preview later. But I believe that in the conference that they are in, they will most likely make will win the division, even though they have like the hardest schedule in the NFL actually this year based on last season's rankings. So I think they're gonna make it to the playoffs. They're gonna win a playoff game or two, but they're not gonna make the Super Bowl.
Oh, I see. What a shame. What a shame indeed. What
And
a shame
especially
indeed.
he has people think like he is the answer, like what Tom Brady was. Tom Brady, when he moved to Tampa Bay Buccaneers, is a six-time Super Bowl champion. And he has won Super Bowls in recent years before he went to the Buccaneers. Aaron Rodgers have wet the bed in the playoffs. In the regular season, right? In the regular season, he has scored 475 touchdowns to only 105 interceptions and only one Super Bowl. Every year in the NFC, people have eaten in the Aaron Rodgers era, including my team, like the team that I love, like San Francisco, right? We won with we won with two different quarterbacks against Aaron Rodgers. We're like 4-0 against them in the playoffs in like the past 10 years, We're like they're cryptos. And obviously Aaron Rodgers lost to the Seahawks, lost to Arizona, lost to Tom Brady. Tom Brady went from win Super Bowls in the the AFC with the Patriots, moved to Tampa Bay 1 year and beat Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs is a different quarterback than he is in the regular season. That's why he only won the regular season awards like the MVPs, but he can never win the playoffs in recent memories. And the year that he won the Super Bowl, he was riding the coattails of the defense with Clay Matthews and those boys, right?
Yeah.
He was like he started he was still in his rookie contract, so all the money can be used for other pieces around him. And now that he's the man, he's like one of the highest paid players. He couldn't get it done in the playoffs, which is where greatness, where the greatness of players come out, which we will talk about in future podcasts. What is the definition of greatness in sports?
So you're telling me that Aaron Rodgers in the regular season and in the postseason, he is a different breed. So you're
That's
like,
right. I mean, for example, if we're talking about NBA analogies, Jimmy Butler is the opposite of Aaron Rodgers. He basically like played chill color regular season, and then when playoff times, like his points went up like by 23%, or like defensive efficiency and stuff like that. Whereas Aaron Rodgers went down. He went down.
He went down. So he went
The
from
last
a
playoff.
Yeah,
The last playoff that he won was lost to was against my 49ers, and he played Jimmy Garoppolo outplayed him, by the way.
And now you're telling me that he went from bull in the regular season and then he became a plankton in the postseason.
Yeah.
Basically.
Well, I think if the Jets were to make the Super Bowl, their defense has to be historic. Like remember when Peyton Manning won the Super Bowl with the Broncos? Peyton Manning only has no arm anymore. He just managed the game. Aaron Rodgers, that's what he has to do. In Green Bay, he has to be Superman, right? In here, he can be Alfred. He can just like get everyone the ball, like just play chill.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But do you think, in terms of Aaron Rodgers' legacy, especially he is like 39 years old right now, do you think the New York Jets will be his last pit stop, or would the Green Bay Packers acquire him for the last rodeo, the last ride?
Yeah, I think this is his last team. He was already contemplating retirement, right? Even the offseason, he was thinking about retirement. And then an opportunity arises where this team, who is ready for a Super Bowl, defense is like fourth last season. And all they needed was a quarterback to guide them to get further than they could possibly get to in the past 10 years. So I think this is his last chance. This is his last rodeo.
Okay. Now you give me you give me a prediction of what the record would be for the Jets. What do you think would it be?
Oh, yeah. Well, obviously the conference is tough, especially they have the Buffalo Bills and Miami Dolphins, obviously our favorite city. And those teams made it to the playoffs last year. And Miami is going to improve from last year because their first time playoff appearance in a couple of years. Tua, we can only hope that he's gonna stay healthy and that he's just gonna keep the ground running. They're gonna build off what they had last year. Whereas the Buffalo Bills, there's a lot of questions about Josh Allen. He's like the Aaron Rodgers without the Super Bowl, basically.
Yeah.
He plays great in the regular season and in playoffs. Can he get it done? But I believe the Jets will be in first place of the conference. They're gonna win a game or two. They're gonna lose to the AFC Championship to a team that I believe will make it to the Super Bowl, which we will talk about in our Super Bowl preview in the next coming minutes.
All right, you heard it here first. And now, the second main topic of our episode, Brock Purdy era in the San Francisco 49ers. So, the Brock Purdy era, the 49ers dynasty, can they do it again, Brian? Do you think they can do it again? Especially a stellar performance for Brock Purdy, 7 wins straight last season. Especially they made the playoffs last season as well in the conference. They lost in the conference. Like, can they do it again? Can they do it again this season? Or is it just a one-hit wonder?
It won't be a one-hit wonder. I believe that he will perform to the standards that we see. We got to remember, the last time we saw Brock Purdy, he got his arm literally cut off, He had to get surgery and all that stuff. And he played great when Jimmy Garoppolo went down. They scored a lot of touchdowns. He scored like 13 touchdowns to only 4 interceptions in 9 games. In 9 games, he scored 13 touchdowns and 4 interceptions in the regular season. And obviously in the postseason, we saw what he did, 3 games and 3 touchdowns. 3 games, including the Philadelphia Eagles game, of course. And he played great. He has all the pieces around him. We got George Kittle, we got Christian McCaffrey, we got Deebo Samuel, we got Brandon Ayuk, who I think will be the true wide receiver number 1 this year over Deebo. We got third down Jennings. We basically have all the pieces around him. And that guy in left tackle, who's like the greatest offensive tackle we have ever seen in the NFL, is playing with us and blocking for his blind side. I believe he will play great this year. I believe we will see like a drop off, obviously, because like usually when they play great in the rookie year, there will be a drop off in their second year. So we gotta look at the trends, like stocks. We gotta look at the trends, right? And this year he will play not to the standards he was, but only by drop off by 5 to 10%. Obviously, because injury also plays a factor with his recovery and his mental state. Mentality of an athlete is very important. When they played injured, it goes to their psyche. So we got to talk about that. We got to think about that too, right? But overall, I think they're going to play great. They're going to make the Super Bowl. I'm just giving you. And then we're going to talk about that in our Super Bowl preview again later.
Trey Lance. Let's talk about Trey Lance. He was traded to the Cowboys. The Cowboys, the America's team. It's a done deal. Well, did you see this coming, Brian? Did you see the management of the 49ers letting him go? Such an injured player every season, especially he hasn't started a full season since 2019. Did you see this coming? And do you think this was a smart move for the 49ers to part ways with him?
Well, actually, he came into the league in 2021, so it's not 2019. But and also
yes, of course. But like I was talking about full season 2019, maybe in his college days.
Oh, right. Okay, my bad.
Yes.
So in 2019,
Brian, get the facts right.
Yeah. So last time he played a full season was in college, and even in college, because of COVID, he hasn't really been playing.
Yeah.
Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, who was the head coach and the general manager of the Niners, they believe they went up in the draft in 2021. because they didn't believe in Jimmy Garoppolo's availability. They actually trust his ability, but not his availability, which is why they drafted him. And guess what happens? The successor was not even available to them as well. He got injured in the preseason. But in the 2021 season, he was drafted, and they had a plan not to play him that season because they believe Jimmy Garoppolo was the bridge between Trey Lance, the current, and the Trey Lance for the next season, which is 2022. Fast forward, we made it to the NFC Championship game, which I'm still upset about, obviously, because we lost to our arch rivals, LA. And then in 2022, Trey Lance was supposed to be the starter, and Jimmy Garoppolo was supposed to be shipped off. They couldn't find a trade partner, so they let Jimmy Garoppolo. They re-signed Jimmy Garoppolo. They put a contract. They re-signed him to a cheaper money, about on the facts that he would just be a backup. But if he plays, he would get more money, obviously, per game basis. Which happened in the second game. Trey Lance, Kyle Shanahan called a run play. Trey Lance broke his ankle or foot or whatever you do. Jimmy Garoppolo came in, played very well for the next few games. He was the answer for them. All the players knew that Jimmy Garoppolo was supposed to be the quarterback for that season from the beginning. And then eventually he went down, and then Brock Purdy came in, and they didn't miss a beat. They even went up in points, by the way. When Brock Purdy came in, they went up in points on an average per game basis. So Trey Lance, coming into this offseason, had a hard time becoming the starter. I believe that they already knew that Brock Purdy was going to be the starter for this season, especially based on what happened last year. Because, the players in the locker room will obviously have a say of like who they want to be their quarterback, and obviously based on the resume, they have seen that Brock Purdy could be the answer that they're looking for. So Trey Lance was fighting for like a second for the backup spot, but then they signed Sam Darnold, who was a third overall pick a few years ago, came from USC, played with the Jets and played with Carolina. The teams weren't good, but like overall, like, he's a solid quarterback, a veteran, and they decide to go with the veteran over Trey Lance because they don't believe that Trey Lance they have the ability. Trey Lance has the abilities, shoulders down, athletic abilities. Like he might not, but but based on like the system of Kyle Shanahan, which is based on quick releases and reading defenses, putting the ball in the right place at the right time. He doesn't have the ability shoulders up, which is why he was let go to them boys.
If you compare Brock Purdy to Trey Lance, like who would you think has the greater potential between both of them?
If we're talking about potential, it's also based on situation. Tom Brady went to the Patriots. That's a great situation to be in. Imagine if another quarterback goes to it. We never know, you never know. It has to be a marriage between two things, like ability and situation. Brock Purdy is currently in a great situation with the 49ers. He's currently in his rookie year deal, obviously, so all the monies can be distributed to all the other players right in the cap space. And right now, Trey Lance, they have Dak Prescott, who the Cowboys owes money for the next few years, and they have a solid backup quarterback in Cooper Rush. So right now, he's also third in the depth chart, but he has to play. He will be playing for the future in the next year. He'll probably be a backup and eventually replace Dak Prescott. So right now, the future is brighter for Brock Purdy. Ability-wise, obviously, Trey Lance has much more athletic abilities, but situation right now is Brock Purdy.
Oh, that's true. Especially Trey Lance have to fight his way up. He's the third string quarterback. The Cowboys is gonna be a great team this season. Do you agree?
I agree. They'll always lose in the playoffs somehow. Like Stephen A. Smith, what will go wrong what can go wrong will go wrong, with the boys.
And now we are done with the Brock Purdy era. We continue to the draft of the quarterbacks, the fight of the fight, the Coliseum of three quarterbacks in the top five, which is the three rookies, first round quarterbacks. Bryce Young, pick number one, CJ Stroud, pick number two, and Anthony Richardson, pick number four. So, what do you think of the draft for these three quarterbacks? Who are you most excited for to watch and play? To watch and play.
We've seen Bryce Young. He's a very accurate pass passer, very gifted arm, strong arm, great accuracy. But his flaw is his height and his build. Bryce Young is built small. Russell
like
Wilson,
a stick figure, but
Russell
5'10" stick figure.
Is short, but he is built. He has the muscles and all that. And so I think like his situation, he has to do more, obviously, because he's the first round pick, the first overall pick. So they're going through a situation such as same as CJ Stroud. They just hired the defensive coordinator from the 49ers, the Texans, right? Houston Texans. And he has a much more polished build. So it should be, in terms of like his availability should be better because of his build and all that. So he can handle the tackles more, the hard hits more. And also we gotta give a shout to Anthony Richardson, who went to the Indianapolis Colts. He's the first in depth chart right now. He's from Florida, so there's we have a connection over there. He is probably the more built of the quarterbacks in the first round, and he has a very strong arm and a very athletic athlete, obviously. But I think who is going to be better overall will be Bryce Young. I just believe that he'll get bigger in the future, but right now I think he's going to struggle in their first years. All these quarterbacks are probably going to struggle in their first years, but they're going to build off next year, obviously.
Yeah, especially like Bryce Young, even with his stature, he has a 96 grade according to ESPN. And he is compared to the likes of Drew Brees, having that rare poise in that pocket and also a smooth, quick release to the receivers. Do you agree, Brian?
I agree completely. I mean, watched a lot of Alabama games last season. I agree for sure.
You agree for sure. And the one who will show up is Bryce Young in like comparison to CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson.
CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson, they're obviously big. They have a great arm, and it just depends on their situation in the future, obviously.
That's true. That is true. Okay, now moving on. This is the final topic, the best for the last. Who is going to make it to the Super Bowl this season, Brian? Please tell me. I want to know, and I know you are going to be wrong. And we're going to see this recording again, and I'll just laugh at it while I'm eating my cereal.
Well, here's the thing. The NFC obviously is going to be the 49ers. I believe that they have all the pieces that they need right now. Brock Purdy can be the answer. Just give the ball to the right space, right person at the right time. That's all he needs to do. He doesn't need to be Superman like Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. He just needs to be a game manager. Pass the ball to Christian McCaffrey, boom, first down. Pass the ball to George Kittle, third down. Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel. You have all the pieces. You have all these Pro Bowl, future potential Hall of Fame players, and those big boys guarding you from your blind sides. We're gonna handle every type of defensive line. The Eagles, we're gonna beat them again in the playoffs. We're gonna beat them. The Cowboys, Dak Prescott's gonna throw 4 interceptions. We're gonna make it to the Super Bowl for sure. The AFC. Now, my AFC, the top 2 teams, I believe that's gonna make it to the AFC. It's gonna be the Jets, obviously. Aaron Rodgers, they got the high. All the team has swag right now. They're gonna make it far in the playoffs. I believe the Jets have it all it takes, but they're gonna go against the team that I believe will make the biggest jump from the previous season, which is Las Vegas Raiders. They're going to meet Las Vegas Raiders. They got Jimmy Garoppolo. They got Josh Jacobs back. They got the greatest
Oh man.
receiver of the past 5-10 years. Devontae Adams. So they have all the pieces. Jimmy Garoppolo was the only missing pieces. All they need to do, like what I said for Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is just an old, younger Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo has the experience. Jimmy Garoppolo's gonna get the ball to Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs,
Oh my god.
Renfro. Josh McDaniels, no Jimmy Garoppolo's strength. He's gonna be healthy this year. I believe he has a great offseason this year. They're gonna play the Jets in the AFC Championship. I believe it is gonna be the Las Vegas Raiders versus my Niners in the Super Bowl. And who's gonna win? Obviously, I believe it is gonna be Las Vegas Raiders. I just think if we look at the history, if you look at the past history, teams that don't do well in the previous seasons can't have the chance to be well in the following season, like my Niners was in 2019-2020 season. So I believe Jimmy Garoppolo was that missing link. He's gonna take them to the promised land that they haven't felt in years, in 20 plus years, 30 years, And what do you think
Okay.
about that? And what do you think about your preview?
What do I think about my preview? Well, I think my team, the Seattle Seahawks, Hawk Nation, the 12th man, which is me, and also our dad. Disclaimer as well. Our dad as well. I think that the Seattle Seahawks will win the Super Bowl once again. Just look at our draft class. Look at this. We got a cornerback, Devon Witherspoon, pick number 5. Pick number 5 indeed. And now we have Jackson Smith and Jigba from Ohio State, number 20. He's amazing. Just look at that speed. Look at that speed. And now we have an outside linebacker, Derek Hall from Auburn. Did you see that tackles? That's amazing. And then we have Zach Charbonnet. He's actually a very, very good and elusive right backer. He's good. He's just good. And he's from UCLA. Smart people. And basically, we have Geno Smith. I still believe he is the answer to all our problems. Rest in peace, Russell Wilson. Rest in peace, Russell Wilson. We just trust in the short passes of Geno Smith to DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett. I believe it. Especially our offensive lineman now is better. Our defense is better. Overall, everything is just better about the Seahawks franchise. And I believe that we can make it to the Super Bowl and we will beat the 49ers in the playoffs. Or the 49ers will not make it to the playoff and we're not going to meet them.
The only way we're not making the playoffs if Brock Purdy went down mid-season.
Okay. That's done with our preview, and we are done with all the topics for today. This has been me, Bradley, and
Brian.
And don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and tell us more about your inputs in the comments. What you want to see, what you want us to do, what you want us to talk about.
And this comment with your Super Bowl predictions in the comments right now.
Oh, yes, indeed. And this has been the Melting Podcast. See you guys soon.